Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloriana, and today I wanted to talk about how to believe in yourself again, or for the first time if you haven't acquired that skill, because ultimately it is a skill. And I really want to touch upon this because sometimes life can break you down, and when you find yourself on the floor, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, it can be really difficult to find that inner confidence and self-belief and really trust that you can actually get out of where you are, or really trust that you can achieve your dreams or get to where you want to go in life. So I've been sitting with this topic for a little while, and I've thought about the steps that we can take to actually start building ourselves up again and getting that self-confidence and ultimately self-belief. And I really think that it all starts with acknowledging where we are right now. It really matters to acknowledge where we are, because it is here that we can sort of diagnose ourselves and figure out the root of the problem. And by this, I mean that sometimes we are carrying with us many thoughts and beliefs that are completely out of alignment with that self-belief that we need in order to move forward. For example, sometimes we are running unconsciously on a belief that we are not worthy, that our energy really doesn't matter, we don't make a difference. We are afraid of being ourselves because we haven't seen anyone like us out there. And so we start comparing ourselves and thinking that we have to change, that we have to be different in order to succeed. And so we really want to go deep within ourselves and figure out what beliefs, what thoughts do I tell myself on a consistent basis that doesn't align with that self-confidence that I seek, that doesn't align with that self-empowerment that I need to get out of where I am. Self-awareness is always where we begin a journey of transformation, because in order to move forward, we have to know where we are now so that we can adjust our mental state. It can be a draining process because finding all those limiting beliefs that we carry can show us a lot about where we are mentally currently. And it can be hard to face ourselves and who we are at the moment. But I believe that this step is crucial if we want to take different action, like any addict, that has been addicted to something that's negative in their lives. Sometimes we're addicted to our thoughts, our negative thoughts and our negative beliefs about ourselves, and we don't even notice. So it takes some acceptance and sitting down with ourselves and seeing, hey, what am I telling myself on a consistent basis? What are the words that I use in my mind about myself and about life? Do I speak of myself in a way that I'm empowering myself, or am I putting myself down constantly? And so when we reach this point of self-awareness, we can then move forward into the next step. In order to connect to our inner power, it is essential that we connect to our inner voice, our inner strength, our inner power, because we each have lived a completely different life. No one has ever lived the same experiences as you. No one has experienced your parents or guardians, the people that you were raised with. No one has experienced the pain that you've experienced, the joy that you've experienced. So we each have unique lessons and gifts to offer in this world, because we are simply really unique. There is no one like us in this world. And when we acknowledge this, when we ground ourselves in our inner voice, in our inner truth, it is when we can start to believe that we have something special to give the world, that the world needs, because there is nothing like it, because there is no one like you or no one like me. As an example, since I've been in this content creation platform for a little bit, I kind of stepped off for like a year and I'm coming back now. And I've been noticing that when you start learning about content creation, you kind of feel like you have to follow other people all the time and sort of copy certain things in order for you to stand out. And I've been realizing how important it is to stand in who I am and what it is that I have to offer. Because if not, then I'm just gonna lose myself in the process and become like someone that I'm not, and it's not gonna be authentic. And I think that everyone can feel that. And so whatever you're going through in life, if it's content creation, or if it's not, if it's, I don't know, finding your power to follow your dreams or get somewhere that you want to go, it's super important that you find your way, you find your power, you find your truth and your voice, because that is what's gonna make your journey different. That is what's gonna give you exactly what you need. Because when you ground yourself in your truth, in your inner voice of guidance, then you will feel like you're okay. Because we all have this inner guidance always speaking to us at all times, and you can hear it almost like a little angel in our shoulders telling us what is right for us, what path we need to take. And when we're not grounded, when we're seeking for other people to give us constant guidance, we no longer trust that little voice that's always there. So it's really important to be still, to come to ourselves and find the silence within ourselves so that we can hear our own voice. It's so important to constantly tune out the world and come back to our power, to our truth, so that we can realize that our directions may not be what someone else is telling us. And that is fine, because our directions will ultimately give us a lot of peace and will lead us to the place that we want to go. Something else I've discovered that is really important in trusting ourselves is action. Because we don't just gain self-confidence or self-belief from one day to the next. It's important to understand that, like with any skill in life, self-belief comes from taking steps and practicing. The same way that you're probably not going to go into an auditorium and sing opera if you've never taken lessons. You would probably have to go to classes, start learning, start becoming better. That is the same thing that requires you to gain self-confidence. And this may look different for everyone, especially depending on what it is that you want to achieve in life or what area in life you're seeking more self-belief in. But taking action that is aligned to you and your goals every single day matters. And I spoke about this in a different video. I think it was the last video that I was saying that no matter how you feel, it's important to keep moving and taking action. And that is where you gain those points of self-confidence, because you are doing hard things for yourself no matter what. Like, you're no longer negotiating with the world. You're no longer negotiating with your emotions. You're simply saying yes and committing to yourself because you're saying that you matter. And ultimately, those little steps really do give you confidence. Confidence really comes from making sure that we acknowledge that our word matters, that we have integrity, and it's not simply going to fall from the sky one day and you're going to feel confident. It's going to take some practice. And I think that when we see this as a gradual effort, we no longer have this whole pressure of having to have our whole life figured out, and we can just ground ourselves in this moment and see what it is that we can do to move just one step forward instead of having the whole journey figured out. When you are trying to acquire more self-belief, it is important to understand that fear is going to be a natural part of the process. And I think this is just a natural part of life. Steven Pressfield called it resistance, and he pretty much talks about this in the context of making art. But I think this always shows up in life whenever we're trying to do something for ourselves. So resistance is pretty much this energy that's always going to come trying to defy us. I don't know why or how it works exactly, but I do know that every time we say, I am ready to level up, it's as if the universe is testing us and saying, really, are you? Like, how much are you willing? How much work are you willing to put for yourself? What risks and challenges are you willing to make for what you want? And I think this is a way of life, maybe making us stronger, maybe teaching us new lessons. But I think if we acknowledge that we are going to probably face some sort of resistance, probably in the form of fear, because fear is a very limiting one that constantly tells us that we're not enough, that we're not capable, this and that. If we're able to look at that in the face and say, okay, I see you, but I actually have an action plan that I am honoring. So even if you do show up, I'm going to show up too for myself, and I'm going to take the action that I said I would. And those little actions, tying it back to the last step, that is what really creates self-confidence. Believing in ourselves is honestly a difficult journey, especially in a world that is constantly telling us that we have to follow certain things in order to be successful, in order to be good in life. And it's really important to constantly ground ourselves in who we are. I think the most important an empowering way to believe in yourself is to get to know yourself and to see how awesome you are. I have made videos about this in the past, but getting to know yourself will make you confident, because when you are constantly surrounded by others, when you're constantly seeking validation from others, you're not giving yourself the space to see who you are and what you have to offer. It's impossible to believe in ourselves if we don't know who we are. So introspection, self-reflection, just simply spending time with ourselves, doing something that we love, can spark that light within us, and we will be there. We will be the only ones there to witness that, and that is an awesome and beautiful thing. We can obviously, like I said, constantly take steps to improve and be better, but that light is always there, and getting to know that light within you is a beautiful thing. It's the most comforting feeling that you will have, because there's nothing more sacred than the real you. I think that when we all start tuning in with ourselves, we tend to show our most beautiful qualities to the world and the most inspiring, creative self that we can be. And so constantly coming back to yourself in whatever way that you can, whether it is through meditation, through making art, maybe through going for a walk by yourself, whatever it is, keep that moment sacred for yourself and do it every day, because the less that you spend time with yourself, the further away you go from yourself. And I've experienced this several times. When I don't meditate, when I stop journaling, I really feel lost. I get anxiety and I stop believing, having faith, having hope, because I am putting my faith in the world rather than in myself and my power. So if you're going through something similar, just know that you're not alone, and we're all working through this constantly in different ways. I know that some people have been able to really rely on themselves and been able to accomplish amazing things, and that's really inspiring, honestly. But if you're not there yet, just know that these steps that you can take daily for yourself are equally as valuable and will definitely take you to where you want to go. I thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I always appreciate your attention, your time, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye.